It's the JT Cho Show!
10, 9, 8,
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
One Piece, baby. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the JT Show Show. I'm your host, JT. Today is the 19th of March. Happy birthday, Earl. Because we're all in isolation and everyone's staying in, I thought I'd do 2 podcasts today because my schedule's hectic. I'm not getting shut down. My second episode's gonna, cover more of the corona. This is all about One Piece right now, but just a quick update. You betcha, I'm gonna change my T-shirt. I might change my hat too. But I'm recording 2 podcasts today. First one, all about One Piece. So skip on over to the One Piece one to I think 22. This is episode 21. If you don't care about anime, just listen to 22. We'll be covering some NFL and stuff there, blah, blah, blah. But what I did for this One Piece is I watched episodes. I'm currently on like 502, I think. I watched 200 through 400, and I kind of typed every 30 episodes. And then I typed about 10 pages. I could have typed like probably 3 or 4 more, but I'm just going to freehand the last 40 episodes because I just didn't feel like typing anymore. I'll be reading it off my computer, which is something newer that I've done. I had a long day. I had to record some Jump Force. So if you're watching this on YouTube, I put my Jump Force clips for the One Piece because, come on, dude. Spoilers, by the way. I'm going to talk about a lot in One Piece. So if you haven't seen it, again, skip over. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. I gotta click tabs. I haven't done that before. All right, so we're gonna start off with episode 210, and then we'll go to 410. So episode 210, Luffy and his gang, they're like escaping this unescapable fortress. Like they just got done with Skypiea, dude. And you think, okay, a little side arc, meet some stupid people, land on the island that's not really, doesn't really have anything to do with the story other than like they're resetting their watch and they're ready to go. I was ready for like a little break. Nope, they land in this unescapable. They just escape this unescapable fortress, and they run into these cats called the Foxy Pirates. Now the Foxy Pirates have like 9 episodes, and they're playing this game where like you can lose your pirate crew, and that's how they've become so great, because they cheated the game. And it's called the Davy Back. So for like a first example, what a Davy Back is, like the first race, there's 3 events. The first event was a race where you build ships out of only 3 barrels, and then whoever makes it around the island first wins the event and gets to steal a crew member, and then you do 3 rounds total. So you can steal their crew member, you can steal their flag, which I can't remember what it's called right now, but if you're a pirate holic, they're Jolly Roger, yeah. So you can take their Jolly Roger. So essentially, like, they did Davy Backs to try to trick the Straw Hats into losing some of their stronger people. So, trying to quit pop, by the way, too. Soda, if you call it. But I'm trying to quit pop, so I've been drinking a lot of tea, a lot of water. Hardest addiction. So I'll talk about that more later. So, the Foxy Pirates, they're all master crafts at Davy Backs. Like, they know who needs to play, what positions, how you win every game, So, they've practiced, dude. They're like Russia and hockey way back in the day. So the first event was a race around the island, and you thought they were going to win, and the Foxy Pirates used the slow beam ray that he has, and he made everyone super slow, and they lose Tony Chopper right off the bat. And they're on to game 2, where it's Sanji and Zoro, and they're facing some giants, and it's like a game of soccer where one character's the ball, and then the other character's the offensive player, and you have to kick their ball into your goal, which is on their end, and then the vice versa. They're trying to kick your player, who's a ball, into your goal for the loss. But those two aren't about to lose to like giants. So they lay some smack down. It's called Groggy Ball or Groggy Ring, I don't know. And like basically, like I said, Sanji, they're not gonna lose. They win. And you think that Luffy's gonna pick Tony Chopper. Well, he picks that big ass horse. You'll see him if you watch it. He because the horse was originally captured by the Foxy Pirates, so he picks a horse, and the Straw Hats are like, "You're an idiot," but they realize like that's how pure of a heart he has. He's gonna help people out, and he knows he's gonna win the next game. So it's round 3, right? Tony Chopper's still on the other side, and you've got like battle royal race derby. I'm gonna turn down the gain a little bit. I'm really excited. I really like talking about anime. So if you enjoy this, like, subscribe, leave a comment, JT of Jville, all that jazz. But let's get back to some One Piece because we've got a long way to go for sure. So, and yeah, I'm reading this. So if you're watching it, then you're gonna see my ugly mug try to go through my notes because I write when I watch. So yeah, it's a battle roller race, like those big old hefty women do. I'm a brawler and I'm gonna skate around that ring and whatever it's called. I don't care. So like Luffy don't even know how to skate, man. So you're telling me he bet all his marbles in the third game to get Tony Chopper back, and he doesn't even know how to skate. So it's 5 rounds total to beat the Foxy Pirates, and Luffy goes twice, and he doesn't know how to skate. So boom, Luffy loses the first one like right off the rip, and then. At the end of the day, though, the Straw Hats are going to figure it out, and like Luffy figured out how to skate. Zoro was pretty good at it, and they won Tony Chopper back. So even across the board, got Tony Chopper back. He got the horse back, and then they lost the first round, so they're back at even squads, and only captains can agree to a Davy back. So again, the Foxy Pirates uses a slow beam for more tricks, and he tricks Luffy though into doing another Davy back. So we're doing 3 more rounds. I was like, come on, man, I'm ready for something else. I've already seen one Davy back. I don't care. So round 1's dodgeball, and like you can't cheat. If you cheat in this, like they've been cheating the whole time, but if the refs cheat in this one, then it's a no-go. The Straw Hats lose Nico Robin right off the rip. It should have been run. It should have been again won by the Straw Hats, but they blew it on the game 2. This one was in the bag for Nami, but Zoro kicked this big-ass monkey guy, starts with an H, I forget his name, into the old man playing red light, green light. So they lose 2 members right in a row. So now Luffy's down 2 men, Nico, Robin, and Tony Chopper. He bets his whole crew, but the captain of the Foxy Pirates, Silver Fox, he bets him 500 men. Luffy's got like 7 people at this point. So he's like, oh man, 500 people, and if Luffy's crew loses, not only does Luffy's crew get absorbed by the Foxy Pirates, he also has to basically give up the rights of all of his kids and grandkids until they hit 500. So like the next 400 and something kids, 490 something kids will all have to serve like all of Nami's. Like if they each have 10 kids, dude, they're still serving that pirate crew if it's still an organization like hundreds of years down the line. So they do. So I'm not gonna get into it, but they do a battle on the ship. They kind of set it up because the whole ship is set up to trap Luffy, and he knows all the traps, and Luffy's just trying to fight. But Luffy, he goes to Afro Luffy. It's a really funny run-on joke for the whole entire episode. Does the Afro make the man, or does the man make the Afro? But Afro Luffy comes out on tops. He selected the Foxy Pirates banner, Tony, Nico Robin, and 496 pirates, except for the captain of the Foxy Pirates, the chick, and the big-ass gorilla dude. So then he looks at the crew, and they're like, yeah, Straw Hat. And he's like, yeah, you guys are done. See ya. I don't need you. So he cuts them loose. But he still kept their banner. This comes in down the line where the Straw Hats are headed after this. So they're trying to find a shipwright and a musician. So they're still on this journey. They're still looking for One Piece, but Luffy's still assembling his crew. And he really wants a musician, and he really wants a shipwright. So they're back on the Grand Lines for probably 24 hours, and bam, some little kid uses a seahorse to steal their memories. So now you're doing more character development for Nico Robin, because she didn't join. She was one of the ones that was unaffected because she was staying up, so she was unaffected by the seahorse that was stealing memories, because the seahorse can only steal memories when people are sleeping. So she kind of figured it out, but she didn't know how these people met, and these people Nami forgot everything that Luffy did for her, and Luffy and Zoro forget their bond. So everyone was forgetting everything, and Nico Robin doesn't know how to describe how they met because she wasn't with them. like no one believes anything, but then like people start getting their memories back. So she uses this logic. Luffy gets his memory back first, and then they go on like this mini adventure to kick this seahorse's butt, and it's like 5 episodes long. So they fight this dream-eating seahorse. Uh, Luffy had to fight to hypnotize Zoro, but we never know like the true conclusion of that fight. Zoro probably got lost. Like it was probably like even, and then like someone probably got launched, and Luffy, he didn't knock him out. He probably just hit him, and then he got lost. I don't know what happened to him. So now we're on episode 225, where the Foxy Pirates are being like held by this like frog dude. So basically, from their previous debut back game, once those three got their banner taken and they got sent out on their ship, the other Foxy Pirates, they gave them their boat back, and then the frog pirate guy, he took over the ship. So basically, the frog man he was a captain on a different ship. He took over the Foxy Pirate ship after the Foxy Pirate 3 crew member, including the captain and 2 side characters. I know there's a lot. We're just going through it. But basically, he's running the ship, but he's like this heartless, like frog pirate. I don't write this. I'm just going over it. So watch the episodes if you want a better description. But this is where are we at right now? We're at 10 minutes. We're at 10 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. If you made it this far, I'm shocked, but we're almost at episode 25, so in 10 minutes I've covered almost 15 episodes, because we started at 210. That's not bad. 15 episodes is still 20 minutes an episode, and I just did that in 10. So anyways, so Porsche, the guy's name is Hamburg, by the way, the big-ass monkey-looking dude. So you got Porsche, Silver Fox, and Hamburg. They rescue these 3. They run into the Foxy Pirates' old ship, and they make them take it, only to have like the Foxy Pirates again turn on the Straw Hats because they're like still trying to steal them. And then they escape the Foxy Pirates again. We're off to 226, titled "The Guy Who's the Closest to Invincible and the Most Dangerous Man." So, man, I'm gonna mess this up, and I apologize. You meet this dude. His name is Admiral Akajoki, or it's something like that. Admiral Okajoki. Man, I'm gonna butcher it. I should just quit this podcast. Anyways, he's one of the young, he's probably in his 30s. I could probably look it up, but he's one of these 3 Navy admirals, which they fall specifically under one higher power, and then there's the world government above that. But specifically in the Navy chain of command, they're the 3 strongest guys. You know what I'm saying? And so you're learning some rank structure about the world's Navy. You're learning what basic. I'm sorry, I'm scratching my foot right now. It's pretty much killing me, and it's unprofessional. Anyways, so you're learning this rank structure and how the Navy kind of works. And so he rides this bike across the water. He basically can freeze things, so he just like rides his bike and he just can freeze the top of the ocean water. So he just rides his bike across the water. So his devil fruit power is like ice, and whatever he touches is like ice baby. And he can turn into like little ice particles. I don't know exactly how it works, and it's probably going to explain it later. But he's got a really strong freezing ability. And he can shoot like ice across the ocean. Like he can freeze like island to island connections. Be like, yeah, hey, you got 5 days to make it to that island because I froze the water for 5 days straight. So the reason why this is so important is because he runs into Nico Robin, and there's like some mystery there, and because you still don't know like Nico Robin's past, like they just she just joined the crew from Alabasta. But you don't really know about her, So there's some clouded mystery surrounding Nico Robin, and she needs more character development and a fantastic storyline written about her because, she's got to be a true part of the crew. You need to know where she came from, and she's probably got a tragic backstory that's going to take you back. That's how anime works. So, anyways, Luffy gets explained how strong this dude is and challenges this dude to a duel, and he gets waxed, dude. He gets turned into a frozen statue so fast, and the guy's just like, well, I guess you did call it a duel, so I can't kill you. I've already defeated you. And then he just rode his bike across the water. So Luffy like eventually became unfrozen, and And, he's getting his due back from beating Crocodile. You think, oh, he's pretty strong, and then nope. And then they're on to the next village to find that shipwright. Because right now the Going Merry, it's looking like an Arby's number 5. It's looking pretty. It's looking pretty beat. It's still, it's still a beautiful boat. We love it. Not saying anything that's happened to it right now, but it's pretty beat up. So that's why they're trying to find a shipwright. They want to go get there. They got 300 billion berries or million. Can't remember. There's like a cat outside. Anyways, they've got 300. Yeah, I think they've got 300 million berries. Yep, that's it. And they're gonna go get the Merry repaired. They're gonna pay their allowances. They think they're about to go shopping. So episode 229, we arrive at Water 7, and this is kind of like the city that's like Venice. It's got these seahorses. It's got these seahorse things called bulls, and they give everyone's rides around the town. So they take this gold to the bank, and they got from Skypia, and it's worth like 3 million berries. And thanks to them, oh yeah, it was 3 million, 300 million, 3 million. I don't know. Thanks to Nami, so Luffy, Nami, and Usopp go into the water, and they run into the Frankie family. So like the Frankie family's like this, like they don't really build ships, they destroy ships, and then they're also bounty hunters. So the Frankie family gets intercepted by this rope guy named Paulie, who stops them and takes the cash to meet Iceberg. And Iceberg's this dude that Luffy was told to go see from this woman that ride the train across the sea. Again, I don't write this. It's just the things that happen, and I'm reporting it to happen in case you never want to watch it. And this is just a recap. So get over it. Anyways, man, I'm ugly. Okay, so there's some moving pieces because a lot's happening right now. You meet Pepe Lulu, who looks like Freddie Mercury, except he's got bedhead, tilestone, and they're like shipwrights, like they're extra people, but they're like kind of important. So you meet this dude named Kaku, who's like got this square nose, who kind of looks like long nose, and he can like jump like really high and like super far distances. And he's like, I'm gonna go check on the Mary. So he just like jumps off like the top of this like big tower and like rolls to the Mary in like 5 minutes, when really that's like a 20-minute journey. So Zoro's like guarding the ship, and he's already beat up some people. Nico Robin went with Chopper. They're just hanging out together. Chopper went to buy some books, because he's like, I gotta learn some more medicine. And Sanji's rolling by himself. He's, getting food stuff. Luffy's talking to Iceberg, who's like, hey man, I fix my, I want this ship fixed. And, like, here's 2 mil. And they're like, wait, where's this money at? And they realize the money's gone, and like the suitcases are there, but they open them up and they were false. And then like, they're like, oh shoot, where's our boy at? So he's like, hey Iceberg, I gotta go. I gotta go look for my boy. And then at the same time, this guy who raced over Kaku to look at the Going Merry, he was like, oh man, dude, like the structure of the ship, that's like the main vertebrae of the ship. It's at the bottom. It's that big beam. Basically, he's like, oh yeah, this boat's gotta go. It's dead. It's DED dead. Going Merry. Gotta go. So sorry if I rushed through these parts. Again, watch it if you're more interested, because I'm butchering some M. Night Shyamalan twist, plots, points. I'm like really just skimming through it. So, again, you're getting, 25 episodes in probably 18, 19 minutes now, because I'm still looking at this Word document. So, Tony Chopper, he walked into like this bookstore, a nerd alert, who's trying to buy new books, I do. I bought 3. And Nico Robin runs into a man who says some like code phrase or whatever. He's wearing this mask, and like, you can't really tell who he is. And like Sanji sees this person walking with Robin around a corner, and he disappears when they like go around the next corner. And there's like no secret doors. There's nothing, absolutely nothing. So Luffy and Nami like run up to like a beat up Usopp. And he's like, I can't face my crew. I lost 2 million berries. It was in the suitcases. And Zoro's just chilling on the boat. So Luffy and Nami tell Usopp to hang tight. They're going to get Chopper, and they're going to head back to the ship. So everyone except for Robin and Usopp are on the ship. Turns out Usopp heads back to Frankie's place, and he gets whooped by Frankie himself, who takes the money along with some squared head sister people. And he's like, hey, I'm going to go spend this cash. So Zoro like is beat up. And bam, Oh no, sorry, Zoro's not beat up. Usopp's beat up, and bam, like the wall comes crashing down, and it's Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, Chopper, and they're all yoked out, just like they just got shredded, and they're going to the beach after that. They destroyed Frankie's place. They beat up his crew. They're like, "Hey man, this is for what you did to Usopp. We don't care about the money. We're here for our boy." They heads back toward the ship, and everyone except Usopp knows the fate of the Going Merry. So basically, like Luffy's been explained about the Going Merry, and everyone knows about the Going Merry, and this boat to Usopp, man, like that's his like piece of the puzzle right now, dude. He's like all about that ship. He's gone through his hardships. If you watched it, he's had his moments. He like saw. We'll get to that in a second, but he saw something like in the Going Merry from Skypia. So like, there's a lot of history, like who built it, where it came from, what part of the journey, That's Usopp's. That's his like nail in the coffin. So he breaks the news to Usopp, and Usopp can't take the news, and there's like this big fight between Luffy and Usopp, where like Usopp's like, I'm quitting the crew, and I challenge you for the Merry. So, there's a fight. Usopp's gonna have his strategies, but Luffy's like, he's OG too strong. So Usopp, he can't accept that they're gonna lose to the Merry. He's fighting Luffy. He loses. He leaves the crew because he also thinks that he's super weak. And he thinks that the only reason that he's still connected to the crew is because of Going Merry. So eventually he just like walks away. So Usopp, he's out of the crew. I leave 6 people, and Robin. That's how they say it, dude. Like, I like how there's English names in this. So like when you're watching it, he's like Nico Robin. They say it so deep and dark because they're like mysterious characters. So Frankie comes back home. His crib is smashed, and he's like, "I'm heated. I'm gonna go find the Straw Hats." He's a pervert. Everyone's like, "Oh no, Frankie's about to go on a rampage." And again, if you've never seen it, dude, when Frankie goes on a rampage, dude, it's like bad for the whole town. So again, spoilers. We're skimming right through this. So the Straw Hats, they're looking for Nico Robbins, and then all of a sudden, like overnight, while they're waiting for all this stuff, a masked man shoots Iceberg, and Nico Robin was with that masked man because they didn't finish Iceberg off. So the Straw Hat crew is wanted by the whole city because basically this guy named Iceberg's the mayor, and he really holds this entire city together, and he's done so much for the city. So like everyone's like pissed because they're like, look at these pirates. Why they shoot our guy? So they're guarding Iceberg for his life while still looking for the Straw Hat crew, and Luffy's like, the hell with this, I'm just going to talk to him. So he bursts through the window. He talks to Iceberg. He says he doesn't care for Luffy's words. He's like, hey, she's part of your crew. She's evil. Get the hell out. So Frankie, Iceberg's crew, the entire city is looking for the Straw Hats at this point. Robin's still missing. She's causing the problem that no one knows the reason for, aka she's about to get more character development. And we're on episode about 240 at this point. And it kicks into, we have like Sanji and Chopper looking for Robin. They run into her, and she's like, deuces. She's like, I'm out of here. Tell Luffy, I don't care. I'm out of here. See you later, alligator, in a wild crocodile. And Sanji like gets swept away by this big ass current. I was like, that was stupid. Like, why would you do that, dude? Like, you can swim. Like, what's going on here? By the way, while this is happening, like this big ass storm is rolling in called the Aqualuna. So this like city completely gets submerged by water. So everyone just like stops what they're doing. They just like board up their houses, and they're just like, yep, another Aqualuna this year, and like a little bit more every year of the city gets like buried by the sea. And like, what a terrible place to live. Like, oh, we've got another 100 years before our house is underwater. So Aqualuna, it's rolling in. So time's on the clock for this Straw Hat crew. Yeah, and also the game plan for the Straw Hat crew is to capture Robin. They're like, we got to get to the bottom of this. There's a big mansion that Iceberg's staying at. The shipwrights are all guarding it. He's got all his shipwrights along with their goons. And they're all guarding Iceberg's life, and they're sitting in front of his door. Like, the square-nosed dude. Everyone who's basically part of his main shipwrights, they're all fighters. So episode 243, boom, the epic thriller this series has been waiting for. CP9 takes off their mask. So the secret organization that has been like messing with Nico Robin, they take off their mask, and it's people from the Gala company, like the bartender Bluno, I think that's how you say his name. So like the long square nose guys, the secretary, the pigeon guy, they all duped him. They've been working there for like 4 years. Paulie's the only one that's like an OG, and Paulie got told like this side story, like, hey, this is where these plans are at. They're fake plans, but I need you to go take them and run away with them, because then if you run away with the fake plans, they won't know that they're fake, and they don't know where you're at either. So only Paulie, a big dude, like he's pretty big, like he's really jacked, and this guy that looks like Freddie Mercury. They're the only ones that aren't CP9 guys. The rest of them are. They all had some crazy martial arts, So these CP9 guys, they have the upper hand. They throws off the hat crew. So Luffy got one shotted, and so did Zoro. So you're like, oh smokes, man, these guys caught him off guard. And the whole time, Usopp, he's going like he's trying to save the Mary. He's boarding it up. Like this other crew has abandoned it, and they've been like staying at this house. But he's still boarding up. And then Usopp gets captured by Frankie, and they move the ship into Frankie's like secret hideout, which basically is like this old place where they used to like board up ships that no one really goes to anymore. So he's chilling with him, trying to get Straw Hat, not knowing that CP9's coming for him. There's a reveal in the episode where Frankie, who's an enemy of the Pirate Hats at the moment, and Iceberg that happens. So this like a classic anime happens where they throw it back, how the plans were handed down from the last generation, how both Ice Guy named Iceberg and Frankie, how they know each other, what they do. You know what I'm saying? So like now we're back in present time after that little like side story. Nico Robin tells the truth on why she quit writing with the Straw Hats, which again, I'm not going to spoil completely, but I will let you know that it's a good enough reason for the Straw Hats to go after Nico Robin to get her back. So CP9 gets on the sea train. They've captured Robin. They've already smacked the Straw Hat crew. They think they're going to get away. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. They're going to go to Ennie's lobby, which is one of the 3 fortresses, and how it works. There's like a triangle, so there's Ennie's lobbies, and there's 2 other places that connect to these big doors in the ocean. And when one of the doors open, you can get across the entire ocean super fast, but the Navy controls the doors, and it's crazy, dude. No one's dared to breach to this place in like 50 years. So CP9, they get on the sea train, the train that's built to go on the sea to Ennie's lobbies. And so you've got the 4 CP9ers, you got Robin, you got captured Frankie, you got Usopp captured, you got some government officials, some extra Navy personnel, and boom, Sanji, who finally enters his arc. So Sanji, he lets the crew know, he left this like painted note on the wall that would like, hey, I'm going after Robin. And it was really funny because he's like, hey, if you're not Nami, who I love, don't read this because you're a dum-dum. But hey, Nami, that's typical him. He gets to the first cart, then finds Frankie and Usopp untied, like right off the rip. So now you got 3 allies, common enemy. They're all kind of headed to like the same place, and well, they got a common enemy, and excuse me. And they like roll through the carts, and they have some sort of plan. So like you got Sanji and 2 others roll into the front of the cart to get Nico Robin. And now Luffy and the Straw Hats are met by the Water 7 Company, Gala. They know the Straw Hats had nothing to do with him, that they were duped, and they helped Paulie, the rope dude, and they start heading for the train station to try to catch the train. They find Luffy and Zoro. And nobody knows where Luffy and Zoro is. Because like Luffy got whopped after he met the Water 7 Gala people, and Zoro got whopped too. So those 2 are like the strongest, and they went after CP9, the strongest member, who's the pigeon guy, and the whole time they just got wham bam, thank you ma'am, they're stuck, no one knows where they're at. So Nami and Chopper, they're running around, they finally spot the crew members, they get reunited, all that jazz. They're like, hey, we need a ship, we need to get to Ennie's lobbies as fast as we can. And Frankie, who has like this brotherhood of about 50 people, they're like, oh yeah, we need to go get Frankie back. So Frankie's subordinates, which is about 50 people, some half giants, some big ass water buffalo things. They get him this bad boy that's like a rocket train that Iceberg goes and repairs, because he's like, hey, they're gonna make it, they're gonna need this like as good as it can get, but the train that they're gonna take, you can't control the speedometer, so it's like a suicide mission. And the crazy lady that you met at the beginning of the episode that gave Luffy Iceberg's number, Uh, and she's like the train conductor. She's like, I'm gonna drive it. So while this is all happening, like Usopp, he kind of takes over this alter ego, uh, and it lets him help the Straw Hats, even though he's like out of the gang. He calls himself the Sogio King, so he can like still like help Robin, help the crew, but he's not taking anything away from his honor. So he's the king of snipers, and he even creates a theme song, and it's pretty funny. It's some pretty good comic relief. Sanji takes the first big fight on the train. He fights this ramen kempo master. So it's chef versus chef, Iron Chef. Who's the winner? For the first time, you see Sanji using knives because he's fighting food. The guy uses ramen kempo, so he like takes control of these noodles and builds like a giant noodle suit. And then Sanji's like, "I'm gonna make you eat what you're wasting because you're just wasting a bunch of food." So he uses knives for the first time, and he says like, "I've never used these on people." But he just like chops up all those noodles real quick, and then he just whops the guy for wasting all that food. Frankie takes on this dude called Nero. He's like a super minor character, and I'll be super surprised if I ever see him back. But he's like, "Oh, I mastered this uh, secret martial arts that you can use Iron Body and Pistol Finger. It's like 6 different elements, and it makes you like fast, like when you shave. And CP9 uses it, and the Straw Hat crew like couldn't even keep up with him. So Frankie shows like his new body modification that he has because now he can turn into a centaur, but it looks weird. And it's now discovered that Usopp. He snuck around to the front of the cart, and he tells Robin to believe in Luffy, and he's just chilling with her. She still ain't having that, and even though they get in like a single cart and the train gets cut off, Bluno or whatever his name is, part of CP9, he uses this thing called the Door fruit, and he can basically like open up time and space and open up doors anywhere. So he just like goes back to the old cart, and he just like whops Sanji real quick, and then he just takes Robin, and he's like, "See you later, alligator." So the Sniper King and Sanji are just left for dead in the middle of the ocean with Frankie. And here comes this fast bullet train out of nowhere coming to pick him up. So everyone in the train's about to rescue Robin. Everyone sees through the Sogio King gimmick except for Luffy and Tony Chopper. I think that's so funny. They're like, "Oh, that's so cool. Look at this guy. He's the king of all snipers." But really, it's just dumbass Usopp. And they're coming with a game plan to take Robin. So some of the people on the train have knowledge of what it looks like in the inside because some of the shipwrights are on it, and they've been there before when they're building the monorail on the ocean. Again, I don't write this. I'm just reviewing it because I like to do podcasts, and we're all doing this coronavirus thing. So they basically start drawing out plans and how everything's set up, and they have to open 2 gates to get the Robin. And they come up with this like, okay, this is a Leroy Jenkins moment. Luffy just launches into Annie's lobby, and he's like, "I'm out of here. I'll see you guys when I see you guys." So no one ever has attempted to even do this. It's the doorway to the world government with an impossible setup for an escape with 10,000 Marines, and Luffy just goes by himself, doesn't even care. He's like, "I'm gonna plow through all these scrubs, and I'm gonna get Robin back." So without going to so many details about every little fight that there is, because you could be like, "Oh man, look at these wolves, man!" I don't care. I'm not gonna talk about these minor ass wolves, dude. So Robin, the crew of 50 men, the 2 giants, the 2 big ass water bull things who are now tanks. They launch over the fence. Now they're inside Ennie's lobby. Luffy's in front of them, and they're all chasing Luffy. So we get the Robin, who's now in the clutches of a character introduced in the Frankie backstory, who's basically the leader of CP9, and he explains that they use wordplay to break the deal by not hurting the Straw Hat crew because they only promised to not hurt the Straw Hat crew on Water 7, and that they would leave Water 7 safely, but now they're not on Water 7, so they're like, "We're gonna kill him now." So she's betrayed, and Luffy, he gets to the drawbridge before the Tower of Justice, and he's just smacking a bunch of people, and then he gets to your first big fight. Luffy's like, "Hey man, I'm confident." Bluno comes out, no one's been able to touch him. There's a great fight here. Go back and watch it. It's YouTube it. I don't know, just watch it. Because this is when you kind of see Luffy start transforming to the Luffy that you know and love today, because he's using these things called second gear, and he's got third gear. And if you play Jump Force, you're gonna know he's got fourth gear. Again, spoilers, don't be mad. You're not watching the series, you're hearing me describe it. So Luffy uses second gear, which basically uses kinetic energy, and it pushes it through his body, and a normal man's heart would explode because his blood was flowing too hard. So now he can move second fast and use shave basically, and move at the speed that shave does. And And he's keeping up with the CP9 guy, and it's just you finally see Luffy start breaking that barrier. So like Luffy smacks this guy. He's the lowest level in the squad because earlier you saw everyone punched this one dude and he like read out power levels. So uh, he Bueno or Bluno realized they misjudged the speed of Luffy and that he was panicking, and at the end of the fight when you panic you die, and Luffy just whops him. The rest of the crew, they're being chased all around the place. There's a lot of heartfelt battles. Go watch it. I don't care. Episode 274. There's this iconic scene in the series that reminds me of when Naruto fights Pain. Episode 275. We jump back to a 4-part series into Robin's past, and we learn how to read phone glyphs or whatever they're called. Which is basically the ancient text that no one's allowed to read because it tells about the world history that gets erased, that nobody knows about because the world government doesn't want you to know during that dark period, because something happened that made the world government come to the power, and it has to do with the celestial dragon. So to keep the power balance that the world government wants, they ban anybody from reading this text, and that's why they did this thing called the Buster Posey on her original island, because those people were uncovering the past and the truth, and then the government's like, nope, can't figure out the truth, figure out 9/11, we're gonna bomb you. So they just bombed that entire planet, wiped them all off the map, and Nico Robin's the only person that survived. So that was a 4-part series. A lot of information in that 4-part series. We're back here to the main arc. Frankie, you had these blueprints hidden in his body the whole time because he's a cyborg, and he just burns them right on the site, man. So this is like where the CP guys 9, like they're kind of like, God damn it, like we were chilling with the Gala Company building ships. We're a secret underground government organization, and we are sitting. We were sitting in like a fake job to try to find these plans for 4 to 5 years, and you just burn them up right in front of our faces. But Nico Robin, she's like the key because she's the only one now who can read how to build. Because what they were originally trying to steal was this ship that could stop this ancient weapon called Pluton. I believe that's what it's called. And the only person that could read Pluton, the phone glyphs or whatever they're called, is Nico. So she can tell him how you build it. And the plans that Frankie had were the plans on how to destroy it. So the world government was after both of them. But at the end of the day, now the only thing they can build is like, gosh darn, rolled right off the tip of my tongue, man. Pluton. So the world government's still trying to build the ultimate weapon so they can do, peace, whatever. So, the reason why Frankie burned him is because he's like, I believe in the Straw Hats that are going to capture her, so we don't need these plans because you'll never get anything out of her anyways. So Spandam, I think is his name. He's the leader of CP9. He's got his sword that turns into an elephant. I don't make this up. Again, his sword ate a fruit, made him into an elephant, so now he's got an elephant sword, and it's crazy. And he takes Robin away, and he's like, hey, kill the Straw Hat crew. So you get this awesome scene, though. Classic anime scene. You gotta watch it. That's the one I was referring to. So the crew has their main forces fight the main forces CP9. Great minor battles here because you see the growth of these characters for like the first time, and like now you're seeing these characters use like more and more like power moves, and you're like, yeah, the fighting's about to get really, really good. So another character, I do have a heart for Tony Chopper. But Chopper gets his fat transformation. It's pretty dope. Sanji, he like uses like so much speed for his feet and friction that he catches his feet on fire. So he's got like super powerful, strong kicks. Zoro has this new technique. It's badass. I'm not gonna ruin that one. Nami gets a W. She really didn't deserve it. There's like episode 293 if you go back and watch it. It's one of those episodes where like you're watching it and you watch this very powerful anime like mold itself into like this great show with great storyline and characters that you care about, and you get emotional when like they're dying and people like have a significance in your life because you've already invested 300 episodes into your life watching this. And this is one of those episodes that can just ruin it for you if someone walks in and they just like see what was happening. And you're like, dude, like I understand like this is what anime is, but like you're really giving a bad name to yourself. Like I understand like, oh, the sex appeal, but like at the same time, like you're like, dude, I'm here for that backstory, you know? So episode 294 through 300, there's some super awesome fights. So this is like each character has his arc to start revealing how good of a fighter they're becoming because animation's getting better. They're adding more awe to each fight that are going to come up to the future. So Chopper though, he has this moment where he goes out of control. He uses his little pills that he takes, little steroids, and he just 3 of them, and he blacks out. And Sanji, he fights a wolf man. Uh, Zoro fights a giraffe man. Everyone's roasting him because he's a giraffe. And we're at episode 300. Thanks for sticking with me to this point, by the way. When I checked quick time, we're at 39 minutes, and we're not even there yet. I'm doing 2 podcasts a day because, hey, again, quarantine. Do 2 podcasts for this week. I have coronas. I don't, but do 2 podcasts and then hopefully do one on Sunday, if not Monday. Because my side job is closed down, by the way. So, anyways, we're back on 300, and if you watch 20-minute episodes, by the way, that's 3 an hour. You can crank these episodes out in about 33 hours. So again, 48 minutes. That's not too bad from where we're gonna stop today. So I'm taking you on my journey. I'm catching up from the beginning of One Piece. So having you here thus far, I appreciate it. I know you might be angry that I'm missing a little key elements here and there or getting information wrong, but it's not like I take specific notes during every episode. I'll crank out like 10 episodes in a row and be like, I should write about that before I watch another 20 and forget to write anything. So I'm going to write more bullets for the next time up, but again, this is like 7 pages. So let's talk about, so we're on episode 300, let's talk about the next 100 episodes. So we go to episode 301. You're at the Tower of Law with the head honcho fighting on each side, and the head honchos on each side, the Straw Hats. CP9, they're fighting each other. You have Luffy fighting Lucy. So Luffy fighting Pigeon Guy, who you get a short backstory on in episode 305. There's like this small little filler where you get some of his past, and 305 is this ancient Japan filler that they do more and more throughout the series. So like I watch them all. I'm watching everything. I'm not going to skip anything. I do believe I skipped something though, but if I didn't talk about it, I will talk about it. But basically, like I burned through this series. I started December 23rd, I believe. I'm on episode 501 right now, and it's March 19th. I've been watching this so fast that they literally like showed replays of the past characters for like they literally showed like a summary of the entire arcs in the original animation. I was like, dude, I don't want to watch those 4 episodes, dude. I literally watched that last month. Like I spent 20 episodes watching that last month. So that's the only episodes that I've skipped. So anyways, we're back to the stories though. We're back to all this juicy stuff. The rest of the Straw Hat crew reaches Robin on this bridge because they all won their battles, and Luffy he's still throwing hands with Lucy. Luffy uses his 2nd and 3rd gear, which, by the way, you get a preview for. His 3rd gear, he blows Aaron to his bones, and he becomes this huge, like, giant for one specific part of his body. So there's this point where the Straw Hats were victorious, and they thought, we got Robin, and there's the escape ship, and we got everything rolling for us. Even Sogyo King has a moment, but with some like strategy. What eventually happened was like the Navy came in, and they blew up their escape ship, and Luffy has a moment where he's like, I'm not gonna fall anymore, and he defeats the most powerful man in CP9, and then it still spelled doom. But originally what happened was the Going Merry called out to them from the ocean, said jump into the water. Everybody jumped into the water. They made it onto the boat, and the Going Merry makes it out of this triangle. They make it out the doors of justice, and they're good to go. So the Going Merry, by the way, we're on episode like 311, 312. And if you don't have your Kleenexes out, and if you watch the series as much as I did, you better get them out now. So basically, they escape. The Going Merry saved them. No one can find anybody how the Going Merry got there. And the Going Merry meets up with Water 7's ship. So basically, the shipwrights wrote a ship out to meet Luffy because they're like, we gotta go. Like, we can't just be sitting behind. And as soon as they meet up with each other, the Merry splits in half, just breaks in half. And Luffy's like, hey, can you do something? And he explains his little half. It's a half episode little arc where the Going Merry the spirit of the Going Merry, because it's got this it's got this little spirit because it's been treated well. It called out the iceberg, and iceberg literally already gave it like the most care he could give it. He was like, "Hey man, I've done literally everything I can for it. I'm really surprised I made it this far." So there's this super emotional moment where like everyone, it's episode 312. I don't have any more notes. This is where I quit writing. Again, I wrote 5 pages. I didn't feel like writing another 5. I'm lazy. So the ship's like about to sink, so they like catch it on fire because of how dark the bottom of the ocean is, and they wanted to give it light essentially. So they're cremating their ship, and Luffy's like, everyone's like, I wish I could tell Usopp he's not here because again he's like clueless, and Usopp's like taking it like a man, and he understands finally. And then the Going Merry's like, hey, I'm sorry, I can't take you very much farther. I'm so sorry. I wanted to go on more adventures. And Luffy's like, oh my god, I'm the one who's sorry. So he's like super emotional, and it's like, wow, dude, my heart hurts. You're like, well, I'm ready for a nice little break. You know what I'm saying? Nope, no break. Episode 313, you get this Navy Vice Admiral. It's called Peace Interrupted, a Navy Vice Admiral with a Fist of Love. So it turns out this character that they've been teasing for a couple episodes in the first 100 turns out to be this guy named Garp, and Garp is Luffy's grandpa. So Garp just drops in right after this Water 7 battle, right when the Navy's looking for Luffy, and he goes, hey, your dad's Dragon, and he's like the leader of the Revolutionary Army, and he's like the world's most dangerous criminal. And everyone's like, holy shit. So everyone's still partying. Water 7, the Admiral who has the ice guy comes and meets with Nico Robin. He says some like mysterious stuff. He's like, oh, I'm so glad you finally can find something called home. I'm still looking for that. Like, he's still working for the Navy, but he still knows, like, when the time is right, you might have to act. You see some other crazy parts moving, and this is what One Piece does. It kind of like has like so much going on, and then it's like, hey, here's 12 more characters that you've never heard of, and now you need to know the backstory for all of them. Just the conflict. There's too many factors and variables. I can't predict this show very well. See Shanks. If you don't know who Shanks is, then stop listening. But you see Shanks in episode 316. They do like a 1 episode arc with some it's called the Search of Her Yagura. They do a stupid little side arcs until about 320. But 320 is kind of like a cool episode too, because everyone finally has a bounty, which is awesome. So Chopper, he's got a bounty of 50. They think he's the pet of the crew. And then Sanji, they drew ugly as shit, and you need to know that for later on in life. But the entire pirate group is now worth 600 million total. The Straw Hat Pirates are. And by the way, Frankie was invited to the crew, and now Frankie's the shipwright for their ship. I don't know how I overlooked that. So we kind of go through little side arcs here and there, like, and then here's where things start getting a little hairy. So Ace finds Blackbeard finally, and he's finding Blackbeard, and there's like this concluding episode where you don't know how it finishes, where the entire bright side of Ace gets met with the darkness by Blackbeard. So I've been working on my Blackbeard laugh. So if you listen to it here, man, I'm gonna butcher it. I'm gonna do it though. Because again, I watch a lot of anime. If you're listening to this, if you're listening 47 minutes in, you gotta like anime. But okay. Don't laugh. I'm gonna do the Blackbeard laugh, but it's like Teach. He's like like his gang. He's got like such a. He's like basically he laughs and he'll just play like in character. He'll be like doesn't matter if you die or live. It's not up to me. It's up to the strong. He talks so dark. So sorry if I butchered him. I looked weird. Whatever. I'm excited, though. He's a pretty strong character. But he's fighting Ace, so you're like, wow, this is going on. And then the Pirate Hat crew, they start hearing about all these, where they're headed next. There's this triangle that all these ships keep disappearing in. So you get, like, episodes like, it's episodes 329 through 335. And what happens in those episodes is this other crew who steals Jolly Rogers, which are the flags. They do this dumb arc with them. He's got the melt fruit. Who cares, dude? I mean, it was like 8 episodes, so it's not bad, but whatever. So episode 336, it's Chopper Man to the rescue. I'm sure we'll see more of that. Episode 337, though, introduction of a new character. So you've got this skeleton who's just floating through this mysterious fog, and he's wearing this purple suit, and he's got an afro and a top hat. And he's the Gentleman Skeleton's true identity on episode 328. So there's this weird phenomenon that happens. So they meet this skeleton man who can talk, starts like letting him into his past a little bit, explains like why he's there. He's like, oh, my shadow was stolen. I'm not going to tell you who did it because the guy who did it is extremely powerful. And so eventually, though, they accidentally land on this like island called Thriller Bark, and I thought Thriller Bark was actually going to be like a side arc too, but like Tony Chopper meets the man who's like the scientist who like he's been in hiatus for like 10 years and like no one knows where he's at, and there's like zombies on the island. There's these ghosts called the negative. They're like negative ghosts, so like there's a lot of like creepy haunting stuff going on this island. And about 3:45, the crew finally like starts to realize like, hey dude, like actually it's a little bit before that. It's like 3:43. The crew finally like realizes like, oh shoot, these guys are trying to steal our shadows. We need to get off the island. And like the forces have been rallying like the entire time. So again, the skeleton, he leaves. He goes away. Brooke is his name. And so Brooke goes away because he's like, I got to get out of here. The Straw Hat crew is on Thriller Bark. There's people that are going missing. There's like zombie characters that are now portraying like characteristic styles of the Straw Hat crew. And Luffy gets captured by the warrior known as the Devil. So Luffy gets captured by I can't think of his name right now. I'm gonna have to look it up for sure. I apologize. I'm just googling Warlord Zombie One Piece. Wow. Thriller Bark. I'm giving myself spoilers here, you know. So they're in the Florian Triangle during the Thriller Bark episode. The Gecko Moria. So yeah, Gecko Moria. So he's stealing their shadows. There's this pervert lion dude who saw Nami naked. So Sanji's after him. There's this weird ghost hoe who has the negative ghost that makes you feel like negative about each other, and she can like turn herself into a ghost and use her body as a host, and like fly through walls and confuse you at the same time. So it's a pretty important arc, you know. And so he's fighting the warlord again. By the way, he's already beat Crocodile, and now he's been captured. They steal his shadow. They implement it in this giant. It's a giant's giant. His name is Oars. He wakes up after 500 years. He's been chilling in a freezer. Brooke, he's defending his afro, so he's trying to get his shadow back from the swordsman. So he kind of learned how Brooke's a swordsman himself. And now you learn why like Brooke didn't just kill himself, because he's just been chilling on a ship floating in the middle of nowhere with nowhere to go for like 50 years, you know? And you learn this piece of backstory that just punches you right in the face, man. And I'll tell you what it is. Luffy originally meets this whale when he enters the Grand Line. And it's like a 2-episode series, but that whale makes it back and it's connected to Brooks. So the crew that the whale is waiting on to come back is Brooks' crew, who all died at Thriller Bark. And Brooke promised to stay alive so he could update the whale 50 years later still that everyone in the crew is dead, and he's sorry for making him wait so long because they had to leave him where they left him when he was a baby. Coronas. So, anywho, the missing crew pirates, the missing Straw Hat crew, all the pirates get dropped off back at the ship because they have to stay alive for at least 2 days. So what they were going to do is they were just going to put them on their ship. They're going to release them, and who cares? So everyone's revived, everyone's back with each other, and they're like, hey, we got to go get our shadow. So Luffy, he just runs straight for Gecko Moria, and he kind of like sees how his shadow power works. So he's like not really moving a muscle, and he's fighting Luffy with a shadow, but Luffy still like finds a way to like hit him, and he gets like pretty pissed. Sanji's on fire like the whole time. He's fighting Mr. Invisible Man. He's going to rescue Nami. Uh, Usopp, he had a fight with the ghost chick because basically his life sucks so bad that her negative ghosts don't affect him. So basically, like, she's scared of him because his life is more miserable than her life, and that terrifies her. So we're about like 362, and then you start learning about like the past of the zombies and how Dr. Hogio Bax or Hogue Bax or whatever his name is, how he's been doing evil medical practices. So Tony's got to defeat him. Oars is coming out, and he's just rocking the place. So Luffy's fighting Oars one-on-one in Zombie. It's Ultimate Zombie versus Luffy. You've got Nami. She ended up smacking the old leopard face man with her staff and electrocuted him to win. They do this special attack where they knock him down. So they knock down Oars. And then all of a sudden, 368, you're like, holy smokes, like, all this is going on. And you get the Tyrant Kuma, who's this guy that, like, he's super strong. He's a warlord of the sea. He, like, shows up, and Oars and Moria combine, so they're sitting inside of each other, and he's using his shadow to make Oars extend, so Oars can now use Luffy's attacks and stretch because of Moria's shadow. So the Straw Hat crews, they're getting whooped, and then like Luffy gets punched away. And this is kind of one of those moments in the movies where like they learn some new power that they're never gonna learn ever again, because like this event's never gonna most likely partake in the One Piece series ever again. So you see this like Luffy using this incredible power where he absorbs 100 shadows, because they were like, hey, if you eat 100 shadows, you can become as strong as 100 men. And he's fighting Oars with 100 shadows. And then Luffy finishes off Oars because Luffy's Luffy. And now he's fighting Gecko Moria, who just absorbed 1,000 souls or more. Can't remember the exact amount. So Luffy ends up smacking Gecko Moria. He took down his second warlord. Kuma warned him. He's like, hey, man, you want some help with Luffy? And he's like, no, why would I need help with Luffy? And Luffy smacks him, but there's still orders from some higher-ups to take out the Straw Hat crew. So basically, they have to start fighting Kuma, who's like this crazy powerful dude. He uses the paw power, and he can basically like condense air into like this super mega bomb. So Luffy, who's been taking all this damage and ignoring all this pain this entire time through all these battles, he's like KO'd. And Kuma's like, hey, I can kill Straw Hat, period, if you hand him over, and you guys all get to live, or I can kill you all. And then so Luffy like racks out, and he's about to take him, and Zoro's like, yo, you just smacked us all, but please kill me instead of Luffy. And then he ends up taking the pain and suffering that Luffy's been experiencing from all this stuff with no recovery, and he puts it in the Zoro, and Zoro takes like 3 weeks after that to recover. He just like stands up and bleeds the whole time because of like how much pain like Luffy was in. So what happened in this series though is they got Brooks' shadow back, and they asked Brooks to become part of the crew, and they promised that they're going to take him to go see the whale later on in life. So 382, you get this little dumb series with the Silver Foxes again, and they're at some stupid spa resort, and jewels rain from the sky, and no one really cares. And 385, boom bam, thank you ma'am. The Straw Hat crew arrives at the halfway point of the Grand Line, where they meet a mermaid who's getting kidnapped by some people. And if you go back, you'll see that Sanji's picture was drawn because they didn't get a picture of him, and they drew him really ugly. So you meet this really ugly guy who's pissed at Sanji because a really ugly guy is being hunted now because everyone thinks that he's Sanji. So Sanji kicks him in the face and makes him handsome and changes his bone structure. So that guy like thanks him, but he's still awkward and he can't wink. So they're in this on these islands, Oh, and by the way, they meet up with this guy from the Arlong Pirates. He's the octopus guy. He's actually the caretaker for one of the mermaids because people capture mermaids all the time and they sell them on the black market because slavery is overlooked at the islands that they're at right now. So he started getting introduced to this thing called celestial dragons. Uh, so basically, like a celestial dragon is a person who's like originally their bloodline goes back to the creators of the world of One Piece, and basically they can do whatever they want. So if they shoot somebody in the face, you're just gonna be like, "Well, that sucks, Carl. Like, I'm sad that you died, but I'm just gonna keep looking at the ground because I don't want to die too." So no one ever really like looks at the celestial dragons, and uh, and the octopus guy made Luffy promise like, "Hey, if we go here, you cannot do anything. I don't care. You got to promise." So he promises, and uh, and so they're on this island and they're at this carnival, and the mermaid gets captured by some bounty hunters, and they turn him over to an auction that the celestial dragons are now attending. So Luffy's crew assembles. They made friends with the fish dudes who captured him in the original place, and now Sanji teams up with this crew, and they're going to the auction house, which is at the number one island there. Uh, and so here's where we're going to break down like some crucial moments. So nobody likes fishmen. They're racist against fishmen. They hate them. They think that humans are superior here, and they look down upon the fishmen. So when the octopus guy gets discovered, they just shoot him because he's an octopus guy. They're like, "Oh, I'm going to shoot this fishman." And again, if you see a celestial dragon shoot somebody, especially a fishman, you just keep looking the other way because you're just like, "Not my cake today." But Luffy, because he's already friends with this dude, walks right up to that celestial dragon and just punches him right in the face. And it's the punch that was heard around the world. So he punches the celestial dragon in the face. Now they're already enemies of the world government as it is. They just did a crazy heinous act, right? And by the way, while this is all happening, you're meeting these rookie pirate captains as well. So you're introduced to like 4 to 5 rookie pirate captains, maybe even 6. You kind of learn about their powers a little bit, and they're all attending the auction too because they're interested in this town. So you meet these rookie pirates that are also on the same Grand Line journey as Luffy's on, and 3 of the big captains from the rookies take on like this huge fleet from the Navy. But you're also getting introduced to uh, the King of Pirates' right hand man, Silver. His name is like Rayleigh, and he was the first mate essentially of Goldie Roger, and he's in this auction house, but it's no big deal because he's so strong. You got to be strong if you win with Gold Roger. So Luffy and the 3 captains break out of the first Navy act. When you punch a celestial dragon in the face, they send Admiral at the least with a fleet to the island. So again, the tyrant comes back, but it's not really the tyrant. There's these robots that are based off of his body that the scientist is getting introduced, and he's building them for the world government, and he's building them weapons, and all these weapons are super strong. So now all these captains are fighting these robots as well as the Navy, and Luffy's crew, which has Zoro and Sanji, they can barely handle a knockoff with Frankie. They can barely handle these knockoffs anyways. So they're fighting these, I think they're not called Plutons, but they're a special government weapon. And there's also this admiral that ate like probably the light fruit, but he can kick at the speed of light and he can shoot lasers, and he's like super strong and he's whooping on them too. And there's this dude who uses this new martial arts called Hado, and this is where like you can't believe it's gonna happen. Episode 405, titled "Eliminated Friends: The Final Day of the Straw Hat Crew." So watch that one if you're gonna watch like any episode. Episodes 406 and 407 happen. It's a little side arc. We're gonna go to episode 410. So 408, what happens is Luffy lands on this Amazon island. So it's kind of like Futurama with the snoo, but you got all these babes, and Luffy's on this island where there's not supposed to be a man. Episode 409, like Luffy's like in jail, and they're like, "Oh, he's a guy. He's not allowed here." They'll try to kill him, and then episode 410. You think, hey, because Luffy told everyone kind of gets booted away, like essentially 3 days away from the island they were just at. because Kuma was so strong that he like hit him with the pawpaw fruit and they just sent him flying in the air for 3 days and 3 nights. And so you're thinking, oh, they're gonna do this dumb little side arc and everyone's gonna meet back on the boat in 3 days, like Luffy said. Nope. He lands on this island, and whose island is it? It's a warlord. So again, Hancock, Empress Hancock. She's the most beautiful woman in the world. I'm not saying she's beautiful. I'm saying in the One Piece world, she's known as the most beautiful girl in the whole. She's the most beautiful girl in the whole world. But basically, she's the empress of this island that Luffy just landed on. That's episode 410. I'm currently on like 501. So I'm 100 episodes. So again, 100 more episodes. I'm going to do another one. We're going to start off with episode 410 again, which is when Luffy meets another warlord. So he's already rolled through 2. His whole crew just got disbanded, and now he just arrived on this Amazon warrior, all-women planet with another pirate empress. So that's the JT show. That was episode 1. Like I said, I'm going to go change my shirt. I'm going to get some water. And then I'm going to do a second podcast, coronavirus. So if you enjoyed this, please hit me up on Twitter, JTFJBill. Hit me up on Instagram, JTFJBill. Venmo's the same, JTFJBill. My website, JTFJBill.com. Again, the coronavirus, we're going to be talking about that in like 10 minutes. But I'm going to change my t-shirt. And then I'm going to look at the camera the whole time instead of reading off and looking at episodes. But, that was my recap. That was 200 episodes in an hour and 5 minutes. So I like talking about anime. I'm a nerd. That's why I'm single. That's why I'm getting fat. I'm also going to talk about my new, like what I'm doing for food-wise. So thanks for listening. JT Show.